I have to say to you, as a community leader in this country, that many of the cases of health that we have seen in our community, Brother Abaja is on stroke. Celebrate the little that you have achieved. Can I hear some Allahu Akbar? Celebrate yourself, brothers and sisters. Do not be too big on yourself. Of course, we've planned this program. I was meant to be here yesterday. Oh, the brother was imperfect. He didn't remind me. My program has become too much now. More than myself. Apart from Abdullah, may Allah reward be my PA, help me manage. I have other people managing it. We cannot manage it. Business, dawah, education, lecture, this and that. We are not made to be perfect. So when we make mistakes, let us calm down. And if everybody takes this away, we will remember the statement of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He will say to the men, لا يفرق مؤمنا مؤمنة إذا كره من خلقا رضي من آخر. Do not expect your wife or your husband to be perfect. إذا كره من خلقا. When you dislike a character in him or her, رضي من آخر. Console yourself with another thing that person can do better. What the Prophet is saying to us is that you cannot find a perfect husband, neither can you find a perfect wife. So if that is the case, let us take a step back. We planned the program yesterday, we could not make it. We planned it today. It was a difficult thing. I've been on the flight this week, in the last 2 weeks, more than on the cars. So it's become tiring. And then I agreed with my family, I'm not going to drive this weekend. And my wife said, okay, we will drive. We will go everywhere together. And then Abdurauf, Noah, may Allah reward him, was on my neck yesterday. Baba, you have to come today. Who is going to drive me from London to Milton Keynes? And it's going to take from my location an hour, 50 minutes. And then we started the morning with coffee, which normally I wouldn't do. And then we have volunteer that will drive me back, inshallah. So what are we saying now? Is that the topic you are discussing, when I listen to the AGM, may Allah reward all the leaders and give you long life upon goodness. When I listen to the solid, the robustness of your financial representation as a qualified accountant, I was hearing someone talking about the financial regulation. Can we make it? In NASFAT, I was hearing something like Fountain University in NASFAT. I was hearing something about your big mosque somewhere in NASFAT. I was hearing a property developer telling me they want to build houses in NASFAT. I'm hearing something that is booming in my spirit as I was sitting down. This is the same NASFAT that some people will say, don't go there. Taofeek, in fact, there's a particular brother. More than 10 years ago, he said, if I hear you go to NASFAT and give lecture again, wallahi, I will not speak to you again. Yes, the same brother. He has a different view. That is where he understands. That's his understanding. I wish he's here now, so I can tell him that my message to you today, because the brother is asking me, Islam and culture, what are the challenges? How can you be relevant in the modern day? That's the lecture, right? How can you, as a cultural organization, and whether you like it or not, you're cultural. If you're not cultural, we will not see some of our mothers and father in blue and white and all that beautiful stuff. Because there's no text that says to us you cannot wear your blue and your blue hijab and your blue cap. It's a beautiful combination. If I have a party and I see all of you in blue like this, I would love to take a selfie with you. Say Allahu Akbar. As long as that blue does not contaminate anything in my ibadah to my Lord. And that is one thing I want us to know. That Islam has come to adopt culture. Islam has not come to say to you, oh, your culture is this and that. Why? Because even the people that brought Islam, there were cultures that they adopted and there were cultures that they abrogated. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he came when people in his own culture were burying female children. He came when people in his own culture were drinking alcohol so much so that alcohol would be flowing like rivers. He came when highway robbery was very popular. He came when men were marrying many women and they did not honor women. He came and made the Quraysh with a certain method of dressing. But sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who is a ra'ufun rahimun lil alamin, he was a mercy to us, sallallahu alayhi. He was not too big negatively to his own people. He has the power of the angels in his hand, don't forget. He has the power of the jinns. He could destroy them within a twinkling of an eye, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He was a merciful soul that Allah Ta'ala sent to us. He did not start his dawah in the city of Mecca, even though he was a proper Meccan man. He went to outskirts of Mecca, outskirts, in a place called Darul Arkam, and he started reciting Quran to them. Whoever is going to give dawah today and does not understand the concept of what I call gradualism, that person should only lead himself in a corner. He should not even need a family, let alone a community, let alone an organization, let alone coming at the national or international level. Dear brothers and sisters, may Allah bless you and myself. Islam has come to adopt culture. Why did I say that? Allah mentions in Surah Al-Ujurat, Allah Ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhan nas, O you people, inna khalaqnakum, we have created you, dhakarun aw untha, wa untha. We have created you as male and female. Number one, difference. Allah wants us to know that I did not create you men only, male only. I have created men and women, Adam and Eve. What Allah min dhakarin wa untha, what Allah is saying there is, do not think that a man is like a woman. The wiring of a woman is different from that of a man. That is why he used the conjunctor wa. Dhakarin wa untha. I have created you man, woman, male, female. If Allah wishes, he could have just created female, and those female could have just have pregnancy without men. He had done that. Why is that called Amron? He does not need a man to cohabit with a woman to have pregnancy. The example is a Maryam. Maryam alayha salama, the mother of Jesus, did not cohabit with a man before she had the pregnancy of Jesus. And that is why some people believe today Jesus is the Son of God. They did not know that Allah, His power goes beyond the gathering of material. His power goes beyond what? The gathering of materials. Allah does not need to make yam hot and pound it before He sees inyo. Allah does not need hot water and gari and mix it together before eba. Allah will say inyo be inyo, eba be eba. Inyo will be inyo, eba will be eba. If that is the case, Allah says male and female. وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ. And I have made you people or nation. At Tabari, he says, that people there, what he means is that he had created diverse people, people with different opinions and perspectives. Your perspective is going to be different from mine. Mine is going to be different from Jeje. Jeje's opinion is going to be different from Ibu. Where is Ibu? My beloved God. Where is Ibu? All right. Now, we are going to be having different opinion. We must have different opinion. So, if you don't understand that we must have different opinion, please do not be a leader and be talking to people. Because you do not even understand the nature that God created us with in the first place. You do not know that an afa will see something that is makruh and I will see it as haram. You do not understand that what I see as makruh, another person will see. There was an alaja here. I did not recognize that alaja. I was in a house 2 weeks ago in our missionary activities. That alaja has a beautiful daughter. May Allah preserve that daughter. Let's say Amin. Imam, she has new knowledge. That knowledge is warning her. She wants to worship Allah. And this girl now covers her face. Yes. Yes, good girl. Good. She wears but the mother was like, but I told the mother, calm down. She's a woman. She's not a prostitute, no. She's not a drug addict. Because on that day, we went to another house where what we are talking about is drug addiction for a girl. We have been to psychiatry. We have seen a girl, a graduate of Oxford, because she smoked drug, she's gone. That is not your daughter. You know, that woman should be thanking Allah. What that girl is doing is she wants to worship Allah, worship Allah, worship Allah. Then she became emotional, and that's got to her and said, okay, let me cover my beauty. Let me cover my beauty. What is our message to her when she comes to the house? Our message to her is, we want you to understand two concepts. The concept of birrul walidain, goodness to parents, and the concept of niqab. Oh, that's all. Birrul walidain, hukmuhu wajib, is compulsory. To do good to both parents is compulsory to Allah. To wear niqab is not compulsory. Niqab is laysa wajib, walakin afdal. Huh? If it is afdal, that means the ruling is a woman can wear niqab now and choose to open her face somewhere else. Maybe when she's going to work, so she doesn't scare people at work. And she might go to another place she can wear niqab, so she can on and off. That is the best position. And this position is the best position. Because if it is wajib, that means all the women that did not wear it, they will earn punishments. That's what they are saying. But the teachers that she has, they might not have the culture of how do we relate with elderly people the way we have it in our own community. وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ. You are going to have a different view from me. I'm going to have a different view from you. Wakobai and tribes. Yoruba, Ashanti. I went to Ghana in a village. They call themselves Ewe. And there are Muslims Ewe in that community in Ghana. We went to Bali. We saw some people in Indonesia. We went to America. We saw people in America who are Christians. Their own practice of Christianity is very close to Islam because they are very big on polygamy. And they circumcise the children. In Israel, in some villages, you will see their culture very close to that of Islam. Wakoba and tribes. Those tribes, they are all based on cultural dispositions. Every culture. Look at our father here. He has his philanthropy on the left. Beautiful culture. It is you that you say, okay, you want to use Imam because he just came back from Saudi. That's your own case. Baba can pray in his gobi cap, and his gobi cap is beautiful, and he's still a Muslim. Say Allahu Akbar. Our mama can wear ashofi, and they are still Muslims in their hijab, as long as they're not breaking the rule of hijab. If that is the case, Islam, the message is, has come to adopt various culture. Because we are recording this, the only caveat is Islam has come as a filter to filter what Islam has deemed un-Islamic in different cultures and filter what is allowable from our culture. That's all. That's what Islam has come to do. Islam, however, has not come as an abolishing religion to abolish people's culture and their identity so that they do not appear as Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, because Allah said, وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ. I have created you to be able to identify as Yoruba Muslims, Hausa Muslims, Igbo Muslims, whichever way you want to do it. If that is the case, if we now have NASFAT organization, Nigerian, Yoruba organization, with the benefit that I've told you to celebrate. Of course, we're not perfect as an organization. Second message. As we started, we're not going to be perfect. The only thing, assumption, is from the Sunnah of the Prophet. I teach this to senior executives in Warwick University. Part of my 10 golden rules that I teach them in my leadership class. And they go out and say, oh, we want it again. And they will say, oh, can you come to our company? And this class has been rated AAA within Warwick Business School in the UK. Everything that I teach there, they are from the Sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There is nothing in those things apart from there is an evidence from the personality of the best of mankind sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah honor you, brother. Jazakallahu khair. My dear brothers and sisters, let's be here one at a time. I ask Allah to benefit me and you yourself. Whatever we are hearing today, please help me teach it to someone else so I can multiply my reward. Now, what are we talking about? It's not going to be perfect. But I know that brother, that guy, JJ said, friend of NASFAT. Because I've known him under the leadership of that brother Muhyiddin and many other beautiful brothers here for a long number of years. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever we have done together in the sight of Allah, for the sake of Allah, may Allah accept it from all of us. May Allah accept it and put it on our mizan asanat yawm al-qiyamah. May Allah not count us among people that will be losers at the face of their worship. These brothers, they've been making a lot of effort. They've done very well. Are we going to say they did not do anything? All right, let me tell you what I know. I know that I have taught Tawheed class in NASFAT. I remember. And I remembered one Alaja, if I cannot remember all, who says to me, oh, somebody gave me this water in Nigeria and said, if I drink this water, I'll be able to build many houses. I said, okay. I said, as that person drank that water in your presence, she said she doesn't know. How many houses has that person built that you know? She said she doesn't know. I said, Alaja, go that person that brought that water, he should be able to show us how many houses has he built with the drinking of that water. And then I explained to the Elijah, Inna Allah yarzuqu liman yasha'u wa yaqdir. It is not the water or the person that makes you rich. It is Allah that makes you rich. So don't worry about that one. Do this. And the Elijah immediately threw that water away. That is Tawheed. Is that a benefit of NASFAT or not? It is a benefit of, because if it is not NASFAT, I would not have met that Elijah. I have met many young boys and girls who are now part of my mentoring group. Many of them I can't count, who had access directly to my mentoring group. I cannot count them. Some of them, they are doing that. Some of them, they are doing that. We have created benefits under the NASFAT platform. Let us say Allahu Akbar. If that is the case, if I do not know any other thing, I have visited Fountain University that is built in Osogbo. I met Alaji Onike in 2003. I got a call when I was in Lagos by Ustaz Abdugoni Abuto, Allahumma gifirla warham. And Abuto was our Ustaz with Quran, with Baba Medina in Ilorin. And he used to recite the Quran properly, and we used to recite together. And he called me and said, Ustaz, I'm in Lagos. I want you to attend a lecture in NASFAT. And I was in the house of my uncle. Alaji Onike knows my uncle. My uncle is a fanatic NASFAT member, Alaji Bolaniwa. I was in his house in Ajawa State. I said, okay, I will follow my uncle to the lecture. And I came to, that was the first time I knew. But my uncle, since that time and now, I don't think there's one Asalatu that you do that he will not be there. Abi? Alaji Bolaniwa. Alaji Bolaniwa in my family, as for some of you know, I will say, I have many uncles, but I only have one uncle. That is Alaji Bolaniwa. Because he's a good person. Good uncle. It's a transformer, Alaji called him. Thank you. May Allah reward you. And because of that relationship, Alaji Bolaniwa does not go to anywhere else. He goes to NASFAT. Is that a benefit or not? And there are many, many, many more that I can see. However, as we know that, there's nothing perfect. Do we all agree? Nothing is perfect. My only message to you about the strategies of becoming relevant in the modern day world. Number one strategy is that you have been focusing on youth development, but I also want you to focus more on youth development. It is only an omogo person that will see all our fathers here and say, Ọlọ́run kó fún yín lálùbáríkà, kò má dúà sí, irú èèyàn ń gọ̀. Ní tí ó sọ ni pé Ọlọ́run bá wa lékún. So what I'm saying in my first advice to you is that you have been doing youth development before, but I want you to also re-navigate a focus, a staunch focus on youth development. What do I mean? Let me tell you what I mean. Youth development is the future of NASFAT. Let's give it another 10 years, 20 years. Let's give it 100 years. Alaji Onike, let me add 100 years to your age. May Allah give you long life. That 100 years is too much for you. You are going to beg us to say, let me step aside. Let my son be the Imam. Abi? Baba, let me give you another 100 years, sir. You are going to beg us and say, let me stay at home. That's what you're going to say. Somebody needs to step into those shoes that you guys are going to leave. Huh? Somebody needs to step in there. Youth development. For those of you who know, my campaign about youth development is being recognized, alhamdulillah, 2 weeks ago by the Home Office themselves. And all the programs that are run for the UK government, I have never received any recognition from anyone apart from this youth development. Because they know now that my going into the prison to talk to the brainwashed boys who have been brainwashed and believe that let me put some bombs and blow people and I will enter paradise and I will marry 7 virgins. They can see that we have been rewashing those brains and we've been, removing them from this ideology that does not exist. Say Allahu Akbar. Because everybody wants to marry 7 virgins a day, right? And if my Chowdy tells you, Kuku carry bomb now, once you blow yourself, let me hear. Look at that message. Very, very bad brainwashing method. Allah gave you the soul. So whether you like it, Allah is going to take it. Kuku, give Allah back the soul by killing somebody and killing someone else. This is their approach. And some of our children in the house on the internet, they are listening to them. So what did I do? I started a war on terrorism more than 10 years ago. We lock all of them up. Some of them will send them back to their country. I'm sure you will remember the hook-handed guy. You remember Omar from Lebanon. You remember Anjem Chowdhury. Yeah, I wrote a letter to all the BBC, Sky News, all those TV stations that bring me to their table. You're bringing me to BBC, you're bringing Sheikh Dr. Nedvi of Oxford, and you're bringing Anjem Chowdhury, the guy who doesn't know anything about Islam, to come and give us a bad face. Because if you are not a bad person, you will not bring a man who is this negative to a very positive religion. That we have medical doctors who are Muslims in our hospitals. We have professors in our university teaching us. We have many Muslims contributing, especially in the month of Ramadan, to charitable activities in this country. Why are you bringing somebody who is saying, kill the Christian, kill the Jew, when we are not killing people? We are not killers. We are not bloodthirsty people. Why are you now bringing that person? And they stop him. And Jem Chowdhury is in prison. We do not wish anyone to go to prison. But the Prophet ﷺ said, look at them. There's some people during the time of the Prophet, they called the Khawarij al-Asr. When they pray and they finish praying and they are dusting their cloth and their head, there will be dust in the air. People will see from far. That is how religious they are. He alayhi salatu wasalam said, يَقْرَؤُونَ الْقُرْآنِ وَلَا يُنَجِّسْ أَنَاجِرَهُم. These people, they read the Quran, but the Quran does not even live there. They read the Quran in the most beautiful voices. Why? Because they have gone beyond what Allah and the Prophet wants. Repositioning on youth. We've have already. Let us have more people that memorize Quran. Let us increase the number. If we have 100 now, let's make it 1,000. It's a target. By 2025, NASFAT wants to produce Ufaz of the Quran. If you are doing 100, let's say 1,000. If you are doing 1,000, let's call it 50,000. Sir? Let's say we want to produce Muhaddith. If we've been doing 10, let's increase it to 500. They are going to study Hadith. They're going to study Tafsir. That does not stop them from becoming an engineer, a doctor, a pharmacist. So if you want to know, please ask from my students in London. And I'm always proud to say them, the Man Youth in London. In 2004, Professor Naibi gave me a khutbah to do in Man. I did the khutbah, and then everybody was salam alaikum, salam alaikum. And then they said, oh, we need him to come back next Friday. And then I went to meet Professor Naibi. I said, Baba, let me not come next Friday. Let me teach the youth now. The youth are there. And the Prof approved it. Today, Alhamdulillah, I can announce to you, by the permission of Allah, in that group, there is no parent that has a son in that group except that they are affairs and they are professionals. One of them is the leading scientist in Cambridge, and it's also an affair. If you tell him to come and lead the khutbah, he can lead the khutbah. Abdulakim Adetunji is a medical doctor, a senior doctor now in Kent Hospital. He's going to graduate now in Medina University. His Arabic is excellent. So if I have a lecture that I cannot go, like today, the nikah, I have texted him, go and deliver the nikah. I do not know what time I will get to London. Go and do the nikah. He's a medical doctor, but he can also lead a prayer. These are the type of children that we want to raise. NASFAT has been doing it. I want you to do more. Point number 1. Point number 2 is that in your teaching, because you become a global I've seen a brother from Atlanta, a brother from Houston. That means this is a global presence. And you're also in Nigeria. Please know that your delivery of your dawah must be married to the environment. The dawah that you do, the NASFAT in Nigeria, please know that it's different from NASFAT in London. What you can say in your lectures in Nigeria, is slightly different from what you can say in the UK. The way you are raising your children in Nigeria is slightly different from the way you are raising children here. And if you do not recognize this point, you are going to fail woefully. You know why? Because Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has told us, "Adawa ma'al makan." The message that you want to give, it is with the people. I wrote a different lecture. I am giving a different lecture because of the people here. I told you I'm changing the topic, right? Yeah. Because of what I have seen here. And that's why Allah Ta'ala says, do not give dawah. Do not call to my way with knowledge. Don't call with knowledge. Knowledge is ma'ana shay'in. What is this? Don't call people to, don't call Haji. I want to teach you, this is what I know. He says, if you want to call to the way of Islam, call with wisdom and a beautiful preaching. And if you want to argue with the people, argue respectfully, honorably. Don't be like a talking to people and you want them to accept Islam from you. Don't be rude to people and you want them to, I can come here and start talking about what the Brixton brothers are saying. Mustafa Abu Abdullah al-Athari, as-Salafi. A good brother, mashallah. Allah honor him. Allah honor him. But he's doing his own religion. Who is going to accept it? Is it me or Allah? Allah. I have seen Al-Raja today in that room. She was doing the adhkar. She was reciting adhkar silently with cool eyes. Who am I or you to be in between that woman and her Lord? And to determine what Allah will accept from his own servants. I have created you with different views. Do not be the secretary of Allah with ignorance and be judging the servant of Allah and be judging them the way you like. Who appoints you to be the judge of someone? All right. If that is the case, brothers and sisters, I want you to know that the way you are raising your children in Lagos, honestly, you can raise them with Ibadu, Ifanu, Ifati. If you do that here, the social worker will take your kids. All right? That means the way you are going to raise kids here, do not blame me and say, no. As long as that tarbiyah is not different from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And even whether you are in Nigeria or you are in London, if you can study my 10 point of raising an excellent child, and I think his sister is writing that. 10 point, I did a lecture, popular lecture. 10 points on raising an excellent child. If you can follow those steps, because those steps are from the Prophet. And if you had followed from the Prophet, is success guaranteed or not? Can I hear yes or no? Yes, say yes louder now. Yes. It is guaranteed. If you follow the Prophet, success is guaranteed. As-sabiquna al-awwalina min al-muhajirin wal-ansari radiyallahu anhum wa radu an. Just ask, what did the Prophet and his companion do? What did they do? Allah says, radiyallahu, I have given them success. Meaning that I have given them paradise that you are looking for. Ask what they have done. Do what they do. You will get what they get. End of story. That formula is faultless. Say that again. So, if you want to raise excellent children, alayhi salatu wasalam, raise Anas bin Malik. Anas bin Malik grew up rich, wealthy, with many children, and he said, alayhi salatu wasalam never said, Uf aliyah. He never said to me, Anas, why did you do this? Anas, why didn't you do this? Thank you. I like his cap, mashallah. So, if you want to raise excellent children, follow the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, please, and the third point, which I've mentioned before, and I want us to take it away, and I know that the people in this room, alhamdulillah, from listening, they are intellectuals. That Allah has blessed this religion. But I want to appeal, sir, Your Excellency, sir, our Imam, sir. I want to appeal to take away what I teach in that class as well. It's called 1% improvement. The concept of 1% improvement is telling a perfectionist Somebody who has OCD for not doing things right. If something is not right, he has a problem with it. That person, tell him 1% improvement. Because he believes he knows everything. His head is everywhere. Huh? The CEO of a company that is performing, making profit. What do you have to tell him? The CEO of JLR, of Tesla, the CEO of a company that is saying they're making millions of dollars or pounds a year. Who are you to advise that CEO? But if you start the CEO, you're CEO, sir. I know you are doing well, but honestly, you can improve by 1%. Because there's a clear research by the Stanford Brain Institute that supports what we are saying. That research says, and when I found out this research, it changed my life. It says, for everyone here or somewhere else, you have only been able to make use of 5% of what you are capable of. Say Allahu Akbar. But everything that you have done in your life, it's only 5% of what you can do. If we want to know, that should roll us off the chair. And say, oh, this is a new discovery. Meaning, if you had 1%, 2%, 3%, 1%, that means if you can do 6%, you are going to be better than now. If you're making 5,000, maybe you can make 50, maybe. You must have to make a success. If you have been eating healthy food, maybe you can improve it so that you can be more healthier. Because that's the number one formula for success. When you lack it, every other thing becomes nothing. Health, what to eat, the exercise, and all that. Islam wants to already. So NASFAT leaders and NASFAT people in the room, please, I encourage you to build on that first point. Number one point is refocus on the youth. On that first point, I know you have a program. I don't know what that program looks like on the youth, but I know you have a program. Allah has blessed you in this community with people who support your dawah, who support whatever you are doing. People who love you to be together, especially in the UK. I am one of the people that I want you all to be together. Because if you are together, by now, you have more power instead of breaking. Have a clear strategy on conflict management by training those leaders more to become more leaders. What we mean by that is leadership is a journey. Leadership does not stop in a place. Leadership is a journey. Leadership is a journey. You have to start and continue. Because there is no leader who can say to me that he knows everything about leadership, and everything he knows about leadership, including president of countries. Because if he knows everything, he doesn't need to have a special advisor. If Tinubu knows everything, that man there, may Allah preserve him for us. If he knows everything, then he doesn't need to have special advisors who would advise him on stuff. But at least we thank Allah that he knew how to recruit brains. And that is the solution our country needs, right? So, on a final note, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this gathering a gathering that would make you as an organization to even flourish more, whether we see you as a cultural organization, or we see you as an Islamic organization, or we see you as an Islamic center that encompasses religion as part of what you deliver. Whatever your value proposition is, whatever you want to deliver in your goal to the community where you are operating, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make the religion, the worship of Allah, number one. It is already your number one. I ask Allah to increase your wisdom in doing more towards that goal. Because Allah ended the verse that we said. He said, Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. Forget about all the differences, whether you're a female or a male, whether you're a tribe or not a tribe. Allah cares not about all these things, differences. He doesn't know you. He doesn't want to know you. The one that he knows is the one atqakum, al-ismu tafdil, taqwa, the one who has the most taqwa. Who has the what? The most taqwa. It's not the one who is the wealthiest, the one has 10 professors in his field. No. At-taqwa. Be an organization that your number one value proposition will be developing the future leaders, youth, with the knowledge of Islam that would increase their taqwa. That should be number one. Of course, other things will follow because we do other things. We do, because somebody will say, do you want us to have affairs only? No, I am not just an affair. I am also a qualified accountant with 2 bodies in this country. I am a fellow of, so what is the problem? So we are not saying to you, don't do what you have done. I am a fellow of some accounting bodies for Allah's sake. So meaning that I'm qualified to send some auditing and financial reports. Huh? Say Allahu Akbar. Or even say MashaAllah. So, and the same person, at the moment, I have two solid teachers. Muhammad Shinkiti is still teaching me a book right now in Arabia, online. And then I will still listen to. When I go to Medina, I'll go to his house and drink tea. So that is the way we want you to. And you have been doing it. We just want you to step it up. 1% improvement. Let us say 1% improvement. You are 1% improvement. We take it back to our local community and say, guys, we're doing well. Please tell people thank you. Tell them they're doing well. Celebrate the small. Because if you don't celebrate the small, those people will not follow you. If they follow you, they are only keeping quiet in your presence. And they will leave you. Thank them for what they are doing. Allah to Sunday is coming on the bus to Allah to thank her for coming. Because if she doesn't come, you are going to have empty oil. Ìyẹn máa dúpẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ ni torí pé tó bá mọ value ọ̀tá tí ìyá ọ̀tá bá ti di orí tán ti bọ́ ọ̀ṣọ́ tárí ó mọ̀ pé ọ̀rẹ́ oore ni. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni. On a final note, brothers and sisters, please take it away. 1% improvement. Refocusing on the youth. Making sure your youth are trained with Quran. There should be nobody among us that their children are not learning the Quran. There should be nobody in this age. Because if you come to London now, it has become meta 1 naira. It's like about, okay, I went with Al Harith, my son, to a gathering. And the first question, that your 7-year-old daughter, how many Jews do you have? I was like, how many Jews, Bao? How many Jews do you have? He said, 13 Jews. 7 years, 13 Jews in London. Where is your mother? I gave reward. So he had to come in 13 Jews, almost 7 years. How about the bow? 7 years, 13 Jews. And Allah said, oh, I have completed my Quran. And he said, you have completed Quran. Can you recite for me? And in that circle, we form a circle immediately. And Allah was reciting. And she, 7-year-old, was testing Allah. Was saying to him, okay, Ikra. I was like, show me London now. Allah is to Cairo, Olo Nigeria. Koto ha Quran to her. You will go London, not 13 Jews. Your children should be competing in how many Jews do you have? Can you entertain me with the Quran? When I open this Quran, when we are all those children are what we are going to leave as Hawladu Salihin. That will be good for us in the front of Allah. Yadullah. If you leave the bad ones, it's going to be bad for you in that world. May Allah not make it bad for us. So, focusing on the youth, Quran, Hadith. Let's make sure we do it. Apart from the Western mundane understanding. By this, those leaders will be the leaders of NASFAT in the modern world. They will know what they need to do. And this organization, they will carry it to where you cannot carry it. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept this as an act of ibadah in His sight. And to make this something that will be good for us on our mizan asanat yawm al-qiyamah. أقول قول هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.